Shall we stand for our pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Again, Heavenly Father, we invite you into this meeting tonight to lead us, guide us, and help us to make the right decisions for all the citizens of Nashville. Amen.
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 The first item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes for the July 16th meeting. Did you find any corrections to those minutes? And I need to say that Xavier is out tonight with other commitment. Did you find any corrections to the minutes?
Being none found, I move we approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The next is the public comment. Remember, you have 5 minutes. You come forward.
Is it 5 minutes or 3 minutes?
3 minutes. We're gonna have a long time tonight. I better get with it. I'm still on the road. But anyway, James.
James Baker. I reside at 103 East Green Street. I have a couple of topics that I wanted to talk to you about, and I brought some photographs. The first one I want to talk about is I'm not really in favor of these box cars. Everybody has their opinion of it, but I don't think it's very eye-appealing. And secondly, yeah, it might be zoned in an industrial area, but you look at Trey Braswell and you look at Miles Glasgow, look how nice they keep their businesses.
And James, we're going to have a section
I didn't know.
for the public. So if
okay,
you would
I didn't
hold
know.
that item till then,
Okay, so
that
you
would
want
be
me to wait
nice.
on that? I can wait on that.
Okay, so
But my time right now, because I explained to you about my mom is on hospice
Right.
now, and I really didn't want to be gone from my mom that
Okay.
long. And also the other topic is the school. I have been here before the board before. They're not really a very good neighbor at times. They're debris. They have now got construction material, and I got pictures here. And we have asked about them cleaning it up. And my neighbor yesterday approached the maintenance man. We shouldn't be having construction material laying all on the ground in crates and stuff. And now we have gotten possums now roaming through our yards now at night. And over here on Washington Street, right in front of the CVS, there has been looks like a sign that has been broken for quite some time. Anybody can walk by there and get their leg cut, or God forbid if they could fall on it and puncture their lung or something. I brought pictures of that as well. And that's something that really needs to be addressed as soon as possible, because you can see from the pictures that could really be a serious issue if somebody were to fall on it. And I'll wait then later on about the box cars.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
At this time, we're going to have a special presentation. Joanne, could you come forward, please? She has a lot of support here tonight. It's good to see some faces that I remember through the years. But anyway, this is a proclamation honoring the Nashville Graphic for 130 years of journalism and service to the town of Nashville. 103 years.
30.
30, I mean. I'm going to go home. Whereas since its founding in 1895, the Nashville Graphic has served as a vital institution in our community, chronicling the life, growth, and history of our town with accuracy, integrity, and dedication. And whereas the paper has remained committed to fair, balanced, and unbiased reporting, providing a platform for civic engagement, community dialogue, and transparency in local government. And whereas the Nashville Graphic has preserved countless memories of Nashville citizens, celebrating milestones, honoring traditions, recording challenges, and highlighting the everyday moments that shape our shared story. And whereas for generations, the staff of the Nashville Graphic, from reporters and editors to photographers and publishers, have worked tirelessly to preserve and tell the story that defines who we are as a town. And whereas the Nashville Graphic has earned a place of deep respect in Nashville's culture and civic identity, and continues to be an essential thread in the fabric of our community. Now, therefore, I, Brenda Brown, Mayor of the town of Nashville, North Carolina, do hereby recognize and congratulate the Nashville Graphic for its 130 years on the occasion of its 130th anniversary, and extend deepest appreciation for its enduring commitment to quality journalism, community service, and the preservation of Nashville's history and the memory of its people. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the town of Nashville to be affixed this, the 5th day of August, 2025. Congratulations, Joe. I couldn't help but think, and this will tell my age, when I was in 5th grade, President Truman came to this town. And when I became mayor, I was walking through the town with where some pictures, and there I was with President Truman. So
awesome.
that was a real thing. And you know, we all had our pictures when we were engaged, when we got married, and my the youngest son was the baby of the year with the Graphic.
Wow.
So it just has a history for all of us, and there's nothing you can do to destroy our love for the Nashville Graphic. Is there something you'd like to say?
First of all, I want everybody to come up here who is currently with us and has been with us in the past. We've got some retirees here, and everybody come up here.
Bring them up.
Come on, the whole gang.
Randy, move the mic out of the picture, please. Get in the front.
Like I said, some our current staff, some retirees. We've got a gentleman here that's worked with the Graphic since he was 15 years old.
That's quite friendly. He's the one that writes the funny columns.
He, in between working at a newspaper and went on to achieve many educational merits and teaches school now at Barton College. He still writes a column for us every week, and we're glad to keep him linked in. And speaking of linked, just a few words about the founding father of the Nashville Graphic, Mr. M.W. Lincoln, laid a strong foundation when he founded this newspaper in 1895. He was extremely dedicated to the Nashville community, even serving as its first fire chief. His successors, Tom and Joe Wilson, were also a very huge part of Nashville's history and continue to build a newspaper that thousands of people across Nash County have come to know and trust. The Wilson brothers, who owned the Graphic until 1984, set a fine example of community leadership that we are so honored to follow. The Graphic was then owned and operated by Mr. and Mrs. Jack Sharp until 1996, when Gary Cunard of Lewisburg purchased the Nashville Graphic. We are all extremely honored to continue to carry out the legacy of those who were the pioneers and steered this paper since its birth 130 years ago. There have been many faces here at the paper that you've become to know like family, and to many of you in the community. We are so proud to be a part of Nashville and Nash County, and feel very privileged to be the people here today working and honoring that commitment that began in 1895. We're very fortunate to not only follow in the footsteps of the paper's founder, but to continue running this newspaper in a way that its previous owners would be very proud. And Nancy wanted me to go through the timeline of buildings here in town, just real quick, because she said a lot of people don't know, the Nashville Graphic, the first office was near the Fort House that burned in 1905. taken with it its first 10 years, its first decade of historical newspapers. Mr. Linky, that's why he lobbied for an organized fire protection in Nashville, because his office had burned to the ground, and served as the first fire department chief. The newspaper then located on South Body Street. The third location was on North Body Street, where the new courthouse stands behind it. And then, of course, where we are today, we moved there in 1997. So thank you so much for this recognition.
And thank you so very much. So get a picture of you with that. Me and then
Your
the
candy
people.
car camera went away, so we need some more. Yeah, you just
Everybody, you're behind the pole.
yeah, I mean, switch that a little bit.
Don't hide behind the pole.
It's awesome.
Think I can get you all in, it's a little bit. Face is on. I think.
And again, thank you so much.
We have two more little parts of the program. This is Randy Shackelford, who probably everybody knows. And Randy's got some historic things to tell you about and read from.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here tonight, and it's been an honor to work with the graphic for the last year and a half. I grew up, and it was my family's home place on the next block here, in a house that Mr. Linky built in 1907. And when my parents first moved to Nashville, they lived in a couple of other houses, and then they rented the Linky house for several years. I don't remember how long it was, but they first moved in the house before I came along. But anyway, the Linkys had left some furniture, and even years later when my parents bought the house, there was some furniture left, and there was a chest of drawers on the back porch, and in it was a small box that had letters that Mr. Linky had kept. And we have some of those letters that are on graphic letterhead. First one I have is from 1899, the Weekly Graphic, and I wanted to explain how obviously the newspaper has been more than just reporting news. This first letter is actually a request from a young lady, evidently, in Red Oak, and I am going to read it to you quickly. She is writing, "Dear Carrie, please send me 100 kisses by Mr. Linky. Also 100 fond embraces, and oblige. Yours respectfully, Lois Jenkins." And this was witnessed by Mr. Linky in another signature which I cannot read, and that was June of '99. We also, I'm sure, aware that the newspaper has played a good role with the police department and law enforcement. Well, this one's interesting. Chief Shockley, in 1899, this was a letter that was sent from the office of the chief of police from Rochester, New York. And it was sent to Mr. L.W. Body, whom I think may have been the chief of police at the time. But in it, he is asking, he's replying to information that was requested by the chief here. And the last one was again on, and one thing that I wanted to point out, some things seem to change for the better and some things maybe not. On the envelope from Rochester to New York, it was dated in Rochester on May 3rd at 7:30 p.m., 1899. May 3rd, 7:30 p.m. On the back side, it was postmarked received in Nashville, North Carolina at 5 p.m. on May the 5th. So this letter went from Rochester to New York to Nashville, North Carolina in less than 48 hours in 1899.
It won't happen today. It won't happen in this instance.
And the third, if I may quickly, just to let you know a little bit how things have changed. Again, this is on the graphic letterhead. Mr. Linky is writing to his wife in 1910, and evidently she is visiting family in Snow Hill from what we gather from the rest of it. But I'll just read you one paragraph. He says, "I am writing to you for the first time on my new typewriter, which came in yesterday while I was at Castalia. Thus far, I like the machine very well, but it works rather stiff at present. Possibly it will improve with a little use, and when I have become more accustomed to it, I will like it much better. Writing with the machine will make it decidedly better for the boys in the office, who will be glad to get typewritten copy to set instead of the miserable scribbling I have been turning in. So I'm going to leave these wherever is best, and anyone's welcome to look at them afterwards.
Thank you so much.
And I got one more thing. A certain Mike Cooper, some years ago, of musically inclined, wrote a radio commercial that has never before been played in the public for the graphics. So, it
Hey, what you know, Smokey? Man, I don't know nothing. I ain't got no Nashville graphic. I would have bought that if I'd have known it was for sale. Never thought that there'd be so much news to tell. Without the Nashville graphic, I ain't got no clues. I got no newspaper blues. I should have known that if I'd have read the last edition, just some loose change. Would have bought my own subscription. Sitting here without no graphic like my screws is loose. I got the no newspaper blues. Local headlines, community news, sports and such. Local folks commotion with a hometown touch. Downtown, around town, and who's doing what? If you ain't got the Nashville graphic, you ain't got the diddly squat. I'm gonna get mine. I'm gonna subscribe today. Quick phone call, and my paper's on the way. Gonna get the Nashville graphic, ain't got nothing to lose. These no newspaper blues. 4597101. And your no newspaper blues days will be done.
Great. Again, congratulations. Thank you so much. The first item on our agenda is old business, the drinking water engineering contract amendment. Randy?
Yes, Mayor and Council, we have on our agenda items look a little different. We're doing different software to put it together, so even took me a minute to find this, but just need to get there. As you know, we've been undertaking our asset inventory assessment of our water and sewer systems, and we got a grant a couple years after we had already decided we needed to do this and hired Matt Gay and Associates to do it. Then we were funded the grant, and now we're submitting invoices for expenses related to that asset inventory assessment on the water side. But our scope of work that was in that original grant application is different than the receipts we're turning in at this time. So NCDEQ is allowing us to amend our agreement with Matt Gay and Associate for scope of work or services so that we can be reimbursed for the work that we've done via that grant. So we have before us tonight Resolution 2025-27, which amends the scope of work in the memorandum of agreement with Matt Gay and Associates for our drinking water asset inventory assessment.
Are there any questions concerning this item for Randy?
I have one, Mayor. So is it a combination of things that have already happened and things that may happen in the future? Or is it?
Yes, the amendment allows, specifically talks about the valve exercising program that we're implementing as a result of the asset inventory assessment and the purchase of the valve exercising machine. So NCDEQ said that was a qualifying or an allowable expense under our asset inventory assessment. The only thing, it wasn't in our scope of work for our asset inventory assessment. Now it will be.
Good. Any other questions from any of the council?
Mayor, if I may. As I read through it, Randy, I noticed that when we hired Matt Gay and his associates, that a lot of the work that the state required for us to do, we'd already done it. Is that correct?
That is, yes. So now we're expanding the scope of our contract with Matt Gay and Associates to include the things we've done so that we can get reimbursed.
Since we had already done a lot of the work, that Matt Gay taking into consideration that he didn't have to do the full scope of everything?
Well, he had already done it.
Okay.
Just two different contracts. We had one on our own for asset inventory, and then when we got the grant, we had additional. So,
Okay, all right.
If there are no other questions, do I hear a motion to approve Resolution 2025-27, amending the scope of services in the memorandum of agreement with Matt Gay and Associates on the Nashville Drinking Water Asset Inventory Assessment Study?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The next item on our agenda is the 721st Street drainage problem. Randy?
Mayor and Council, we have with us this evening Kenny Vibrant, who lives at that address, and he's been experiencing some drainage problems around his house and his outbuilding, and that he would like to share with the council. So at this time, if it pleases the council, Kenny, would you mind taking the podium and telling the council of your drainage problems?
My name is Kenneth Bible. Live at 1720 South First Street. I've got pictures of what everything's going on.
Are these the same one that's in our,
No, I think he got some different ones, I believe.
we have some that show it in our agenda. Are they the same ones? Are
I
these-
got some other ones
Okay,
too.
good. Okay. So you can just pass those around if you'd like. While you're talking, we can look at them.
Okay. Yeah, one of them's one thing, then one I took some more off.
Okay, look at that.
And I'm just, Chris, Chris went and he surveyed the school system.
Uh-huh,
He spent a lot of money doing that, trying to help me.
okay.
And I went out there and I got the state, he got it with the state for me. State come out there and cut my ditch real deep so it would hold more water. Because you'll see some of them pictures right there. I got water running up under my house.
Mm-hmm.
My house is wet. What do you call them?
Crawl space.
Huh?
Your crawl space.
My crawl spaces under there is wet, and my air conditioner, my house is 80 degrees. I got a guy that's coming to look at it, but he told me, he said, man, I'm behind. He said, when I can get there, Kenny, I'll get there. And that's Johnny Armstrong's son.
Uh-huh.
My shop, I got to go in one side of my shop where the water goes in there. It's about a foot water goes in there, and it has gone down the side of my wall, and it has tucked and corroded the board, the plywood that's there. And I'm just in a bad mess. That's all I can say, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, we thank you for coming and sharing with us, and Chris did come and tell us what the county had done prior to the meeting. Did all the council people get to hear that?
I heard
What?
part of it.
No, I just,
And so he shared with us what the county had done, and so Randy, how do you respond to this?
Well, Kenny's had the problem for a while, and he reached out to Nash County Schools, and the middle school hired a engineer to determine how its stormwater leaves its property, and Kenny's direct downstream from it, so there's some impact there. So the school had a study done, and Chris, if you wouldn't mind, since you're here this evening, if you wouldn't mind explaining what that study all entailed, and the town's done some things upstream drainage-wise that should give Kenny some relief too.
So, Mr. Vibrant reached out to me about water flooding his property coming off of the school system, off of the swell, as it's called, in our drainage there at the roadway. I've gone out and made a site assessment, and I said, I'm not sure if that water's our problem, but we did hire an engineering firm to come in and look at the drainage issues. Long story short, our swell, the water coming off of our property is good. Yeah, there's a few housekeeping things that we did, get up some leaves, clean out our curb and guttering, but that was not the big part of the issue. The water that's dumping to the road was where the problem was. So the engineer said if we could get the ditch cleaned by DOT, which we did that, well, we didn't, we made the request and kind of expedited it, clean his ditch out at the DOT side. The issue that they said was we get the water off of the highway and our property, it's got to go somewhere. And it's bottlenecking up when it leaves his property and gets to the town right of way or easements across the street on 58 and behind his house. He said clean those out, clean the ditch, clean those properties out, and in short, should take care of his problem short of a flood. It should take away of the lake that forms in front of the school. Traffic has to go around that. That is a concern of ours. So we're getting the water off of the highway. We're getting it out of the ditches perfectly now. Perfectly. But it's bottlenecking up in your easements is basically what the engineer said. Summarize that, but questions for me, I'm glad to answer.
Any questions for Chris? Yes.
In those pictures, Larry, you'll see my floors in my house where they're buckled up.
Okay, I haven't gotten to those yet. But Chris, Mayor, if I may, I got two pictures that stand out with me right now. Has this particular drainage hole been corrected yet? Or is that still as it is?
These are on their property, right? Kenny, these own your property?
No, that's up there at the school road right here where the ball fields are. It's all right in here.
Back up there, okay.
Yeah, and you got some up there that's got pine straw at my house. I don't have no pine trees. Pine straw come from up there at the ball field and washed all the way down.
Okay.
I don't really know about those, Larry. I do know that
They're right up this side of the road, Larry.
cleaned the right of way. I do know that.
How long have you lived in the property?
Since my dad died, 8 or 9 years.
And how long has the flooding been going on?
Ever since I got there. Okay. And it had done it before, and my dad got me to town, and we come in there and cleaned that ditch out.
This one?
No, not that one.
Not. Okay, the ditch behind my house. I got a big ditch behind my house. Yeah, that's the pit. You can't hardly really see it the way I had to take it with my camera.
Okay.
I'm not supposed to be up here.
We're not gonna see.
Do I need to hold it?
So, Randy, is this your truck? Is the picture in there with your truck in it? Is that your?
Yeah, that's
Is that
my
behind
truck.
his house or is that next to his house?
That's across 58.
Oh, well, across the street.
That's behind Hurt Court
I got you.
and off Audrey Court in the Village Lane Court area. So that's a waterway that takes water off of Highway 58 and upstream of Kinney's and channels it away. Now, Chad and his guys got there last week and they cleaned that waterway out, and it should flow much better through there now. So with the water upstream of Kinney getting away before it has a chance to get to his property, we should have made some improvements there, significant improvements, I believe.
So the water goes east and west from his property?
It does, yeah. Well, east and then south.
Yeah, it goes across Essex Road and runs that.
I got you.
That big rain that we had the other night, was that after the clean out?
Those pictures were taken last Thursday. It was done last Thursday.
Okay.
So what we had Saturday, was about 3/4 of an inch. It wasn't a real big rain.
Okay. Just wondering if it's working.
Have you had a backup since they done cleaned the ditches and all other stuff?
All right, so what now?
Has it backed up since DOT came out and cleaned that
I
drainage?
hadn't really seen no big rain.
You had, oh, right.
You know, we had, 3/4 inch. I was asleep that
Okay,
night.
all right.
But when it rains real good, I pull out there and sit in my driveway and watch the water coming down. Hold on, if that water keeps backing up in the highway, somebody's gonna get killed out that way. I done seen one car spin out and go up there to that oak tree at my house.
So it sits in the road?
Yeah, it goes, that water stays in the road, man. It crosses the road. Used to cross the road where the ditch they cleaned out. It would cross the road right there.
But you haven't seen whether it crossed the road since they've cleaned that part out, the county,
I hadn't seen no
the
good
school
rain.
system?
We didn't have a good rain
Okay.
yet.
Okay, so any other questions for Kenneth? If not, do I hear a motion for us to receive Kenny Vibert's report on the drainage problems at 721st Street, and we'll just monitor them and see what we need to do?
Move to accept this evidence.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you for coming and sharing this with us. Thank you also, Chris.
Yes, ma'am.
The next item on our agenda is the shipping container text amendment. All right?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. If you turn to page 50 and page 52 in your packet, you can see tonight that we have Mr. Chris Sandy with Bill Wright Supplies. He's seeking an ordinance amendment to the Town of Nashville Chapter 18 Land Use Plan. Chris does plan on starting a business selling shipping containers within the town. Mr. Sandy with Bill Wright Supplies was cited on May 20th, 2025 by Code Enforcement Officer Thomas St. Jones. The violation involved allowing the owners of business at 233 Bourne Street, 111 West Cross Street to house shipping containers for unlawful purposes on their property, which violated the town zoning ordinance. You see we have a copy of the ordinance for you right there, section 18111A 7 and 18111MD. After receiving the notice, Mr. Sandy did come to Town Hall and discuss with the planning department what needed to be done. He applied for a text amendment on June 4th, 2025 to amend section 1811M to allow shipping containers as a permanent use and to be treated as accessory structures in all zoning districts within the town. Just a little brief synopsis before we bring up Mr. Sandy. The town TRC met on June 23rd, 2025. During this meeting, it was recommended that shipping containers are a needed value in the town within the industrial and B1 zoning district, but not in the residential district. So the town TRC denied Mr. Sandy's request, stating that we do see the need for them in industrial zoning and in business one zoning, but not in residential zoning. That afternoon, that was presented to the planning board on June 24th, 2025 to conduct a public hearing on this matter. During that evening, no one came to speak for or against Mr. Sandy's request. After hearing Mr. Sandy's request, the planning board decided to table this to the next month to give them a chance to go in their neighborhoods and talk with their citizens and fellow neighbors about this request. The planning board did reconvene back on July 29th to conduct Mr. Sandy's proposal, along with an updated version of the TRC recommendations crafted by Mr. Michael Hartford in Focus. He took what the TRC wrote and kind of added just a little bit more detail in it to explain the TRC's reasoning. We took both of them to the planning board that evening. After reviewing both ordinances, the planning board voted to recommend approval of the ordinance that was written by Mr. Sandy and not the one by the TRC by Mr. Harvey's recommendations. As we told Mr. Sandy that evening, even though the planning board recommended yours, we're still going to take both, and we told him vice versa. If the planning board would have recommended the TRC, Mr. Harvey's one, we still would have took his tonight to the council. So, Mayor, what we have before us is Mr. Sandy is here to represent his ordinance amendment. I am here to answer any questions that you may have upon the zoning aspect of it. We would need to have a public hearing on this matter to see if any citizens in Nashville want to speak for or against this matter. And before we bring up Mr. Sandy, Mayor, I do have some documents that was requested by the council and by Mr. Sandy to present to y'all. So if you don't mind, Mayor, may I approach the bench, please?
Certainly.
Thank you. This was requested by a council member at 450 of a copy of Mr. Sandy's property, and we have a GIS one and a Google Earth one so you can see his property. Mr. Sandy also wanted to present some pictures as evidence tonight for his text amendment of shipping containers of what he sees a vision of them. So I'll present that to the council.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Mayor, if you don't mind, you can call up Mr. Sandy and we can go to the public hearing.
Before we do that, well, we'll just go into a public hearing and let Mr. Sandy come
Speak
up,
to that.
okay?
That's no problem.
Okay. Or should we have Mr. Sandy up
He's
front?
supposed to speak before the
That's
public
what I
hearing.
thought.
Yes, ma'am.
Where is Mr., oh, there you are. Could you approach and state your name and so you can answer any questions the council might have for you?
All right. I'm Christopher Sandy. I own Bill Wright Supply in in Nashville. And this has been a lot of work has been put into this to bring it to fruition. We've, of course, I submitted for the petition to amend this because our current ordinance that we have, as most of us know, was kind of a knee-jerk reaction to a truck body that was up at Faith Christian for several years, and people didn't like the way it looked and stuff like that, and so it got kind of misconstrued of what a shipping container and a truck body and all that is. And so I have some associates that are that I have leases with to put some of my displays on. They got the citation, I suppose that's what it's called, no violation or whatever, and about my display units being on the property or whatever, which doesn't really apply to that ordinance, but that's why we're here. We're here to clear up the mess and be progressive and do what needs to be done. And in this whole process, of course, I fronted $200 to start this whole process going to fix this ordinance that we have, and I partnered with the town and worked a lot with Sean and Randy and back and forth, and we really put this through the ringer because we addressed every aspect of scenario, and this ordinance was originally about 5 pages long. And so we went through it and we worked it and boiled it down to what we have now to address any concerns and not restrict people, whether the business or residential, with the options that you have. And like some of the people on the planning board said, how can we accommodate people with their interests and stuff without restricting them to death? And that makes within reason, which makes sense. And so I went out also on top of this and had a petition in reference to these things, and just about every major long-term standing business in Nashville signed that petition. I could have got more, but I'm trying to run a business too, And we've got I don't know how many hours we put into this, and so we boiled it down to what we have and what it is. Looking at other communities, talk to other communities. City of Rocky Mount, for instance, that they don't have any restrictions. It's like this is just an accessory building. It's handled as an accessory building without any restrictions at all. They really don't have anything. And so we wanted to give it a little more pizzazz than that, and count these as accessory buildings when used as such, or as any other building material, whether it be sticks and bricks or steel or a steel structure that can be modified as whatever you want it to be. And they're very durable, very sound, and very cost effective. And so we boiled it down to what we have to count these as an accessory building, which adds to our tax base. Don't want to miss that out, because that helps, because that becomes taxable property. And we already had guidelines and stipulations for temporary use for storage, for temporary storage for different conditions. So by putting it in that category, we already got setbacks and codes and everything to regulate these things, whether it's any kind of storage building or this used as a storage building or accessory building. And we put into it on a residential side, if you use it with that, it has to be painted to match the color scheme of the house so that it doesn't stand out as a sore thumb or anything like that. And I know a lot of concerns from people is like, I don't like the way they look. It's unsightly. And that can be a matter of opinion, because I personally don't like stucco houses. But that doesn't mean stucco house is not a good thing. I'm not crazy about gargoyle lions with little top hats on them. I don't like that. I mean, but so everybody's got their own little taste that they can have. And these are things that are really sound. And when applied properly, if a tornado comes through, I can guarantee you it will still be standing and that house will be gone that it passes over. The other thing, which we probably, is this a time we can show some pictures? Talk about unsightly. These containers used, and we're talking about people put roofs on them, make them look like country stores. Really, really nice things that you can do with these things. But if it gets in such a way that it doesn't look pleasant, you can paint the whole thing for $50. A lot of these buildings and stuff that we're going to get to in a second, but yeah, just flip through a couple of these things as far as the buildings and houses and stuff that people have used these for.
These were the only two I was able to get over.
Oh, my
Sorry.
Okay, well, this is going to be a little less impactful right now, but I went around within less than a quarter-mile radius of my business, and I took pictures of storage buildings, accessory buildings that are in terrible disarray in our community. And I can guarantee you that a shipping container used as a storage or an accessory building can be made to look a whole lot nicer than a lot of these rags we got around here. That it'll take $1,000 plus just to make them presentable, and we haven't done anything with. Well, these containers for $50 can be just some paint. You're back in business. It can be fixed. I hate we don't have the pictures. I'm a little disturbed about that because so you could get the real impact of what they can be used as and how they can look, because they are very durable. They're very safe. They're very secure, and we just need to have them as an accessory building and let our own existing ordinance carry the load for the management and regulation of them. We also put into this thing that truck bodies, we clarified truck bodies. That's not a shipping container. Yeah, that's one right there. That's a good one. That's an accessory building. That's another. I'm glad you found those. There's another. How about that? Very pleasant and very nice. And this is going thing. It's coming. And a lot of people, it's a demand and a need for it. I wouldn't be doing this. People were requesting and asking for these. I took 2 down on Womble Road recently. And if we're planning on annexing or doing anything in that direction, you know, those big houses we put them at. And he's painting, one of them, he's painting it white to match his house and stuff. He wouldn't be putting something there to discredit his property or anybody else's stuff if that was the case. And if we look at some of these buildings and sheds that are in disarray around here, you want to see some sites that are ugly. That's ugly. These things it's just another building material. It's not to be feared, it's to be embraced. And so the simpler thing for everybody is that, as we've proposed here, is to put it in place as an accessory building and a building material, and the codes and regulations and the setbacks, everything takes care of that. They're not box cars. They're not off of trains. And, you know, in fact, down where my place is, I look at box cars every day from the railroad. They're nothing like that. There we go. Here's one of them. These are some of the ones in our community. And this is not, you can't say that these things are better to look at than a shipping container that is tastefully done, that's painted to match a house. That's truck bodies. All right, so we're back around. We also put in that, like I said, for the truck bodies to be, that they're not building materials and they're not taxable accessory buildings that we really want to consider. And this will solve a lot of problems because like I said, we're the leading edge, and there's some things coming. You've seen some of these beautiful houses and stuff that people are building out of them, and it's a durable building material that'll stand the test of time. And Sean, anything else in our processes that we looked at, that we went through, that you think you should add?
I think Mr. Sandy has covered everything. I think Mr. Sandy has pretty much covered everything that we've been working on for the past 2-3 months with this ordinance. Mary, if y'all have any questions for me or Mr. Sandy, we will stand by. If not, we'll go to the pub.
And I got a couple more things.
Okay,
I've talked
please.
to a lot of homeowners and residential homeowners, and I get this reaction from a lot of them: why is this a problem? They don't think it's a problem. That's why there's not more people here concerned about it, because they don't think it's a big deal. I mean, I'm not pointing any fingers, but I am. I mean, look at these things. Did you put the funny one up there? I had one in town shop. There's an accessory building down there. This guy's plywood on. I was just being funny with that. But we also looked at, one of the things too. He said, Sean mentioned about the draft from Mr. Harvey. It's missing a lot of the stuff that we've already worked on and put through the grinder. It'll do more damage and harm than the progress that we've made to boil this down to make an innovative, solid, and sound thing. That the planning committee was very pleased with what we worked it down to, and like I said, one of the members said that we might be worried about worms, and there are no worms. And most people care about the houses or whatever. They're going to take care of it, or they're not. I don't care what it's made out of. And we all got different tastes. And there's a definite need here for these in the business and the residential community.
Council, do any of you have any questions for Mr. Sandy? If not, do I hear a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience that would like to come up and speak? James, now is your time.
James Baker, 103 East Green Street. Yes, I'm about the shipping containers. It started with, it won't, so long ago that everybody came about wanting to do a beautification project down Barn Street. And we were going to get bond money. And then, of course, when we couldn't match it, it was scrapped. Now, like he says, it's everybody's opinion, what's eye appealing. And I'm going to tell you, I'm sorry, it just does not look good. And when these buildings sit, and of course you can say, all right, these other containers that's sitting over on Cross Street, that's industrial. But also that whole area over there, and them businesses over there, that area needs to be cleaned up. You got a business owner like Trey Braswell and Miles Glasgow, they keep their commercial property clean and neat. But that over there, it's just not very eye appealing. And like he said, there's some existing sheds and stuff here that looks bad and all. Well, that's where our code enforcer comes in and takes care of that problem. And that's why also it's zoned in areas where we've got building storages all down East Green. That's where you go and you pay money to rent if you need a extra storage area. And like I said, but I just don't agree that this is the right thing to do. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Jay.
And also, what surrounds your area will hurt your property value. And I know that you, Mr. Lum, understand that. When someone comes and sees a hot mess, well, like I said, why would they put them containers out there to start with? Why wasn't this already painted or whatever, but you just stuck them out there? That's all I have to say.
Thank you, James. Anyone else like to speak? Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So my name is Slade Woodard. I live on Body Street. I'm well known for walking all over the place and pestering the Municipal Services Board. But I just wanted to make a few quick comments. I'll try to speak as clearly as I can. Generally speaking, I'm in favor of keeping flexibility when it comes to municipal regulations, right? I would like to share just a few brief anecdotes. I have a friend of mine that works for Westgate Auto, which owns a series of dealerships in Raleigh. They have a very impressive facility that they have created out of about a dozen shipping containers. It's a 2-story structure that meets code for Wake County. And they have used this for auto body work. They have used this for things of that nature. How they've kind of structured this is that this facility is facing away from the road, right? And it's behind the primary structure. So that sort of partially alleviates some of the concerns of it being an eyesore, right? Beyond that, I don't know how many people here have been to Austin, Texas. Okay, so there is a place in Austin, Texas called The Pitch, and it is a pickleball facility. It's made out of 20, 30 of these storage containers. Each one is a bar. So this is kind of interesting, right? So interesting business use and a way of sort of anecdotally showing the business utilization of these shipping containers as well. Beyond that, I will say from a residential perspective, it is far more economically feasible to purchase one of these containers than, let's say, a shed on your property. If you go to Lowe's or Home Depot, per square foot, you're being charged quite a bit more than one of these shipping containers. So that's just another thing to consider for people who may be priced out of a shed, but need somewhere to put their lawn maintenance, equipment, things like that. But that's really all I wanted to say.
Thank you so much for sharing with us. Anyone else? Is there anybody else? I don't see anyone there.
Don't see anybody.
If not, do I hear a motion to come out of the closed public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Are there any questions from the council at all? If not, what are your thoughts?
Mayor, I guess I'll go first. This afternoon, about 4:30, Mr. Sandy, I did receive a copy of your petition that you went around. And to be frank, it's 17 names, there's 17 signatures. 17 signatures out of a town that has a population of 5,600 people. That's less than 1.044% of a response or request to have it in there. And I'm not inclined to go in favor of approving this based on less than 1% of an input for people that want to see it. The pictures that you've given us, they are real sightly, real beautiful pictures. But what I see when I walk out of here and ride around town, I see a 30-something foot metal shipping container with no paint on it, no nothing on it, and it's very unsightly. And the gentleman just mentioned that it is more economical to buy one of those than it is to go down to Lowe's and buy a already built building. I agree. But under that same vein, we've got people around here that's got those outbuildings and not keeping them up. And you know if they're not gonna keep up a building that they paid $1,000 for, they're not gonna make a container look any better. It just, in the right setting, I have no problem with it. I do have a problem with riding down through a residential area and can look over there and see a non-painted shipping container. It just, what we've got now is very unsightly. I've had a few phone calls of people, and they're not here. I must admit, they're not here. Had a few phone calls, not a whole lot, but I don't think this project or this plan has been brought up enough for the general public here in Nashville to realize what we're talking about here. So if I had to make a decision tonight, it would not be a favorable one to you. And I think we do need to see if we can get this out a little bit more. And another thing I want to bring out, Sean, when was the last time section 1811 was written prior to this coming to us?
The 1811M was updated during Mr. Harvey's update we did back last year.
No, prior to that.
Prior to that, I would have to go back. It's probably years ago.
It's been years ago.
Yes, sir. We did update that one section there when we had to complain about the 3-4 accessory sheds in the backyard.
Right. All right.
So we updated this, just that portion, but as
Just
far
that
as other
portion.
stuff, we're still working on that.
And the reason I bring that up, when does the town started allowing citizens to write an ordinance to suit their needs? We never done that. When did we start doing that? And the reason I asked when the date was, I don't want Mr. Sandy to think that, and I understand, I've heard he said that we may be picking on him. We're not picking on him, because we already had this ordinance in place. We didn't write this ordinance knowing that he was gonna come to town. This ordinance was here before he got here. Now, the changes that he's trying to put into it, I mean, I want to do something else in my house, so I'm gonna come to your office tomorrow and see if I can write the ordinance up to satisfy my needs. Let me finish. We listen to you, let me finish. I just, 17 people signed your petition. I know you probably say you could have got plenty more, but I'm looking at 17, and I just don't feel comfortable with listening to less than 1% of the population of Nashville to make a change to our ordinance. Now, Mr. Stanton, I'll be glad to listen to what you want to say.
Thank you. Well, a couple things. Number one, I'm not just changing this. I stepped up to help a problem because our present ordinance is the verbiage and how it's phrased has a problem with it. It's erroneous. It's got a conflict of issues. So I stepped up, and out of my pocket, I spent $200, 50 to 60 hours of my time, and those lists of the people who signed it are 18. There's a page 2 to it. 18
One name is on page 2.
That's me. I had to put my name somewhere. I put my name last. But there are 18 business owners here that have been in business here a long time, that are long-standing members of this community, that said, hey, this needs to be fixed, and we're in active approval of this. Now, I can't go to 5,200 residences.
No, you can't.
And get signatures from everybody in the world. And this is not just for Chris Sandy. I'm trying to fix this thing to open the door for everybody. I've served on the National Small Business Advisory Committee with John Edwards. I've served on the North Carolina Small Business Advisory Committee with Bob Etheridge. I'm a Republican, And they asked me to be on the committee because of my stance, because I have the ability to step back and say, hey, this is what we need to do for the betterment of the people, not just for me. I'm involved in this because I have the knowledge of this product in this industry so that it can be implemented in such a way that's coherent and makes sense. Unlike some stuff we got and we paid Mr. Harvey to put in place that's totally off the mark. So I'm here, I'm here because it affects my business, but I'm here because I'm trying to satisfy a need and fix a problem we have. So please understand, my intentions are all honorable and just here to help this community that I'm a part of and like to be a part of for a long time. Okay?
Thank you. Any other comments?
Mayor, so I got the list also, and I only had one phone number in my phone of the people on the list, so I called that person, and that person responded, I'm not for it. I only signed it to get Mr. Sandy a voice. And I was like, okay. So one of those 18 is not for it. I didn't call the other 17.
Just go on, please.
If somebody came to us with a bar idea or one of these beautiful homes idea with a special use, I'm sure we'd have some kind of talk and discussion. But to give somebody a shipping container, it's called a shipping container because it's used for shipping, not used for your yard. I just don't think it's necessary, and I think it's burdensome on our staff to try to monitor that it's painted properly and looks properly. And I think this is. Mr. Sandy mentioned there's a need for this, or there's a fix for it. But people are telling me, they're calling me, telling me they don't want it. So I don't know what the need is. I just don't see a need for this.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
So I too have received many complaints about the shipping containers on Western. And in looking at all of this, I agree with the TRC and with Mr. Harvey's assessment. I don't think that we need to be adopting this at this time. However, I do agree with everyone up here where, if this is something that businesses truly think that they need or want, we could adopt something that allows for behind with screening, in a way that makes more sense. If we were presented with a conditional zoning where it had something like the things that were brought up by Mr. Slade, it's something that we could talk about. But I think at this point, my recommendation would be that we just take no action on it. And if it's something that we would like to entertain, that we as a council can work with staff, work with Mr. Harvey, who has 20-plus years of experience in assisting municipalities with things just like this, professionals in the area, and then we can come up with an appropriate ordinance amendment that has the standards, the conditions, the requirements that protect the aesthetics of our towns and the property values. So I would make a motion that we take no action at this time.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 So we will wait on taking action on this issue. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is Street and Special Events Permit Ordinance Amendment.
Might have to put some tabs on here. So the town staff is proposing an amendment to the current ordinance governing special and street events to expand the eligibility for applicants. Under the existing ordinance, only local government entities, civic organizations, and nonprofit groups are permitted to apply and host special events within the town. Businesses have to partner with one of those groups as how it's written currently. The proposed change aims to support and encourage greater community engagement by allowing businesses to also apply for special street events, and local businesses are a vital part of our community, and this amendment recognizes their role in contributing to the town's vibrancy, economic development, and sense of community. Allowing businesses to host events create new opportunities for collaboration, tourism, and economic activity while still maintaining appropriate oversight to ensure events align with the town's goals and public interest. This change reflects the town's commitment to being inclusive, responsive to the needs of the local stakeholders, and proactive in creating a thriving and dynamic town environment.
Any questions concerning this? If not, do I hear a motion to approve ordinance 2025-25, amending section 34-77 of the Code of Ordinance permitting businesses to be allowable applicants for street and special event permits?
So moved.
Did I hear a motion? Wait. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve.
Is there a second? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The next is budget amendment number 1. Tressa?
Good afternoon. I'm before you to present budget amendment 1 through 4. Budget amendment number 1, during our budget prep, we experienced an issue with the software dropping expenditure lines. For example, the council salary expense as well as the gas, oil, and tires for the fire station were missing. I reported the issue back in April. Edmonds advised that they didn't see a problem. When I rolled over FY26 budget on July 1st, I was informed that the police department was missing one line as well, which was their travel and training line. Budget amendment number 1 will increase the revenues and expenditures by $16,000 for FY26 to cover the police travel and training expenses.
Do I hear a motion to approve the budget amendment number 1, increasing revenues and expenses in the FY-26 budget by $16,000 for police travel and training expenses?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Budget number 2.
Number 2 encumbers the remaining restricted LESO funds from FY25, which is basically unspent funds, but it's restricted for the police department. So budget amendment number 2 will increase the revenues and expenditures by $92,244.
Do I hear a motion to approve budget amendment number 2, increasing revenues and expenditures in the FY26 budget by $92,244?
May I have a question?
Yes.
So that's just basically funds that were already in the year and we didn't use them, we're rolling them over.
Right,
Okay,
that's
all right,
correct.
all
Okay. Motion? to
right. I make a
approve?
motion to approve
Is there a
that.
second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, budget amendment 3.
Number 3, as of 6/30/2025, the generator from R&L Builders and Sons LLC was not ready. Generators for Parks and Recs. I closed out PO ending with 765 in our prior year, thus moving it into this current year to take care of the expense. So budget amendment number 3 will increase the revenues and expenditures by $68,142 for unspent funds in FY25.
Okay, good. Do I hear a motion to, is there a question about that? Do I hear a motion to approve amendment number 3, increasing revenues and expenses by $68,142 for FY26 to finish and complete the Nashville Recreation Center remodeling project?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, and the 4th one appropriates unspent FreshBook funds from FY25 for our FreshBooks expenses for FY26. Budget amendment number, I'm sorry, that should be a 4.
Okay.
Increases revenues and expenditures by $1,273.
Is there a
Mayor,
motion?
Mayor, for the public, will she explain to the audience what FreshBooks is all
Yeah.
about?
FreshBooks is the EBT stamps from the farmers market, so we were granted money from, of course not here, but various companies donated money for us to be able to sponsor this program. Court can tell you more about it, but this money we encumbered it last year, and he still has $1,273 remaining.
How much?
From last year.
$1,078, right?
$1,078 remaining to spend. The program is over with, but these are just funds that were remaining from prior year that he would like to use for the farmers market.
Do I hear a motion to approve budget amendment number 4, appropriating $1,078 for FreshBooks expenses in the FY26 budget?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
If there's not any other discussion or anything business to address tonight, do I hear a motion that we adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
If there's a second, so we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, we'd like to thank all of you for coming out tonight.
There's graphic cake.
And we'll hope you will stay for some great graphic cake and celebration.
Yes.